Hello everyone, and welcome to our Junior ECE Clinic presentation for Machine Learning, Heartbeat Classification. Our Machine Learning Heartbeat Classification team was comprised of 4 Junior Electrical and Computer Engineering students, Anna Gurski, Tom Gracie, Steve Portley, and Zachary Blum. As electrical and computer engineering students, we envision that we will be able to contribute to technology that will improve people's quality of life. The World Health Organization has stated in their fact sheet, which was recently updated September of 2016, cardiovascular disease remains the #1 cause of death globally. 17.5 million people died from cardiovascular disease in 2012, representing 31% of all global deaths. Of these deaths, 7.4 million were due to coronary heart disease. In some cases, the key to helping these people is early diagnosis of the issue at hand. Identification of the problem could make it possible for people to get the right treatment sooner. Our project deals specifically with the first level of screening cardiac pathologies. By identifying issues quickly and correctly, it is possible to help people live longer and healthier lives. Our team found the Classifying Heart Sound Challenge on Kaggle, a website for predictive modeling and analytic competitions. The Heart Sound Challenge provided 2 data sets gathered from 2 different sources. Dataset A contained iStethoscope Pro iPhone app data, and Dataset B was collected from clinical trials in hospitals using the digital stethoscope Digiscope. Our team chose to work with Dataset B as it contained more audio samples and was collected in a clinical trial. The challenge consisted of 2 parts. The first part was the heartbeat segmentation, classifying heartbeat audio into S1 and S2 sounds within the audio data provided. The second part of the challenge was then to classify the heartbeat audio as normal or murmur. The data from Kaggle provided training data and test data for normal and murmur heartbeat audio samples. To be able to classify heartbeat sounds, we initially had to understand how the sounds are produced and what a normal heartbeat sounds like. A normal heartbeat can be broken up into 2 segments. The first segment is the lub sound, which is known as systole, S1. The sound is created by the closing of the tricuspid valve and the mitral valve, and the simultaneous opening of the pulmonary valve and aortic valve. The second sound that is heard is diastolate, S2, the dub sound, which is the closing of the pulmonary valve and the aortic valve and the opening of the tricuspid and mitral valve. These 2 sounds create a heartbeat rhythm. A photocardiogram is a graphic representation of a heart sound made by recording equipment. In this case, we used audio samples provided in Dataset B to graphically represent the heartbeat cycles shown in these images. The top image is a normal heartbeat, while the image on the bottom depicts a heartbeat with a murmur. At first glance, it may appear that the heartbeat signal on the bottom may contain a large amount of noise. However, because the audio sample was provided by part of the training data, we know that the noise present in the heartbeat signal is the murmur. The design of the heartbeat signals classifier can be seen in the pseudocode on the right and in the flow chart of the MATLAB code on the left. The classifier identifies peaks in each signal. It then labels the peaks as S1 and S2. Once the peaks have been labeled, feature extraction of the frequencies between S1 and S2 occurs. Once the process is done for each signal, the classifier is trained. After training, it tests and compares the results, which are ultimately displayed in the confusion matrix. The dataset that we worked with was provided by Kaggle. This was a constraint of working on this project as we could not control the type of data recorded. If our team had collected the data, we would have done so with certain specifications in mind and collected at a minimum 1,000 heartbeat audio samples for both normal and murmur heartbeat. Another constraint we worked with was hardware and software used to record the data. The Digiscope that was used to record the data was one of many digital stethoscopes available. As the audio data was provided, our team could not select another form of hardware. Other viable options could have potentially been the Viascope, developed by HD Medical Group, and One, a digital stethoscope developed by ThinkLabs. Lastly, our most difficult constraint was time, as our team needed to develop a working classifier for a unique dataset in 3 weeks. Our project on heartbeat classification upheld the standards of privacy and ethical representation of data. There was no personal information associated with any of the audio samples that were obtained from Kaggle. Personal information that is obtained as a byproduct of medical procedures or research is protected by the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1966, more commonly known as HIPAA. The protection of patient personal information is covered under the HIPAA privacy rule, which deals with clinical research and how personal information should be handled. To ensure that false causality between the patient's health status of having a heart murmur and their demographic could not be made from the results, the dataset used was assigned arbitrary titles. Our team did not have access to any of the participants' personal information. However, other entities may, and it is important to consider that no assumptions could be made having both our results and the participants' information. Assigning arbitrary titles to all the data ensured that the dataset we were working on and the results were represented in an ethical manner.